Chad is one of the poorest countries in the world. Life expectancy is 47 years old, and 1 out of 5 children die before the age of 5. It is a country that has been in a war-torn state for the past 40 years. Constant military confrontations with their neighbours, especially Sudan, have caused hundreds of thousands of deaths. Nowadays, power belongs to a dictator and is almost completely deserted. Today, it is in the grips of a drought that threatens population with hunger. It is calculated that by the end of April in the Sahel region, more than 1 million children will die of hunger. Chad is not fortunate enough to have a supply of drinking water for the vast majority of the population, and besides that, has a severe problem with the disposition of sewage waters and rubbish that cause the worst health conditions, where unaccountable infectious illnesses are being transmitted, resulting in an extremely high child mortality rate, one of the highest in the world. The majority of the population of Chad live in absolute poverty, with no access to the sea. Recently, a crisis in Darfur in Sudan went beyond frontiers, and the arrival of almost 500,000 refugees destabilised even more of a country where 40% of its population suffers from chronic malnutrition. Chad holds another dishonourable record, the one for being the biggest source and destiny of slavery and child trafficking in Africa. These children are at the forefront of sexual exploitation and child labour, both in Chad or in neighbouring countries such as Cameroon and Nigeria. In February 2012, we went to Bebeja with a Spanish non-government funded organisation, Light Africa, dedicated to operate on blind people due to cataracts and eye diseases. The hospital is run by missionaries and relies on charity. It is a hospital that gives support to thousands of patients every month, where there is only 1 doctor and 1 missionary. Very occasionally, a humanitarian project helps. There are few international corporations and developmental projects in Chad. To make matters worse, a few years ago, crude oil was found, which is why powers such as the United States and France support the dictatorial regime and have sent their multinationals to exploit it. These companies leave absolutely no infrastructure behind or collateral for the development of the country. The money from the oil remains with the most powerful leaders. We identified the main health needs in the area and hospital necessities. With this information, we have been able to develop a number of humanitarian projects. The main project is the creation of a farming garden allotment that allows children to have at least 1 healthy meal per day with good nutritional value, as the majority suffer from chronic malnutrition and developmental delay. Some desperate mothers destroy ants' nests to steal their grains to feed their children. Besides providing them with food, working on their allotment will teach children to become self-sufficient, to take care of the environment in a country that is turning into desert at a high rate, to learn values such as solidarity in a corrupt atmosphere, community work in a country devastated by war. This project to create farming gardens can have such an important social impact because they generate development, employment and wellness and are self-sustainable. Fundings raised go directly to the communities and missionaries. There are no intermediary or managing costs. 100% of the funds are used for the building and development of this project. Labour and maintenance work are paid by the communities themselves. The building of the farming gardens are made on lands donated by the communities and are replicable in any other place in Africa where subterranean water is found and a community to cooperate. We believe that its creation is not only helping against hunger, but also will dignify through creating wealth and work in life of societies that have lost hope in the future. Poverty in Africa has a huge dimension, indescribable and inevitable as a result of war, drought, slavery, corruption, and now also our indifference. To acknowledge this problem, we have only to do two things. Stop declaring ourselves powerless, seen as simple spectators of an uncomfortable tragedy where their main characters die and disappear in millions every year. Acknowledge that these people did not choose to be born there, in this poverty-stricken part of the world, because the place where we are born is not our merit or our fault, and yet decides almost everything. Or the second option is to think that all that remains, the only reality that belongs to us all, are our actions, and in them is our ability to rewrite the destiny, at least to put a comma, to resist, to continue believing against all evidence, justice and human dignity, to enforce on behalf of those who cannot the urgency to act.